The decision has been made and all 17 of them are heading toward the boss. They've been traveling for a long time and it's been 20 minutes trying to defuse the situation. To ease the increasingly tense situation, Hunter Sung Jin-Woo decided to strike up a conversation with Joo-hee. From the expression on his face, it was clear that he was feeling awkward about what he had said earlier. The others had to continue the raid as well, so there was no time to delay. Joo-hee tried her best not to show her emotions, but Jin-Woo didn't believe her words. He asked her directly if she was sure she wasn't angry with him. In the end, even the always calm and quiet Joo-hee couldn't hold it in any longer. She was really angry at Sung Jin-Woo. Seeing this, Jin-Woo looked extremely apologetic. However, that only made Joo-hee even angrier. And even though the atmosphere between them was somewhat tense, there was still a small spark that quietly existed between the two. Finally, Joo-hee made a request to Hunter Sung Jin-Woo that he treat her to something to eat after today's raid. At first, Jin-Woo was speechless, completely taken aback. Joo-hee mistook that silence as a refusal. But then Jin-Woo spoke. He agreed to her conditions. Their conversation was abruptly interrupted when the raid leader announced that he had found a door leading to the dungeon boss's lair. None of them had ever seen such a door. It was gigantic, ancient, and completely unlike anything they had ever encountered. As the group gathered to see the strange door, suspicion began to creep in. The massive size and ominous design of the entrance made them wonder if it was worth risking their lives for what awaited beyond. Sensing everyone's hesitation, Captain Song stepped forward. He declared that he would not back down, not after everything they had been through. Even if he had to fight alone, he would still go in. His words rekindled the fire of courage in everyone's hearts. They remembered the strength Hunter Song had once displayed, and gradually their anxiety dissipated. The giant door opened heavily, emitting deep underground rumblings. A chill ran through the hunters, but they continued on. Together they entered the boss room. As soon as they stepped through the threshold, torches, mounted on the walls, suddenly burst into flames, illuminating the dark hall. Only now could they see the full scale of the room. It was both vast and terrifying. The walls were lined with countless stone statues, each with its own distinct form. Some held weapons, some held musical instruments, all carved with terrifying detail. Sung Jin-Woo stood silently watching, amazed by the architecture and atmosphere of the place. But there was one statue that caught his eye more than all, the one in the middle of the room. It was much larger than the others, and there was something about it that made him feel uneasy. Jin-Woo couldn't shake off the feeling of unease in his heart. The statue's presence was overwhelming, and its enormous size didn't seem to be accidental. The group began to disperse, searching the room for clues. Despite their best efforts, only one detail really stood out. What Mr. Song discovered was a magical seal carved right in the room. However, before he could get closer to check, another hunter called him back. Before them was a statue that was completely different from the rest. It had wings, and in its hand was a stone tablet on which were engraved strange glowing runes. The group gathered, watching curiously. Mr. Song stepped forward and began to read and translate the ancient writings. The hunters fell silent, listening intently to each word as the meaning of the symbols began to unfold. While Mr. Song was translating, Hunter Sung Jin-Woo suddenly felt his shirt being pulled lightly. It was Joo-hee. With a worried voice, she pointed towards the large statue in the center of the great hall. She whispered that while Mr. Song was reading the ancient text, she had seen clearly the statue had moved. It was looking at them. We can clearly see the shocked look on Hunter Sung Jin-Woo's face. He stood still, confused, with a strong feeling that something was wrong in this room. Meanwhile, Mr. Song was still trying to translate the runes on the stone tablet when a loud noise rang out, breaking the silence. Everyone turned to look at once. The giant door they had passed through had slammed shut behind them. A hunter stepped forward. It was obvious he wanted to leave. He didn't care about the boss or the treasure in the room, he just wanted to get out. Without hesitation, he approached the boss room door. But as soon as he reached out to touch it, Mr. Song shouted loudly, "Don't touch the door." But it was too late. Something had moved, so fast that no one had time to see what had happened. In just a split second, the stone statue standing near the door swung out a fatal blow, cutting off the head of the hunter who had just touched the door. The head fell to the stone floor, to the utter shock of the group. Then the statue returned to its original position, silent, motionless, as if it had never moved. On the faces of the remaining hunters were looks of utter fear and shock. Now they understood. These statues could move and they could kill. The timid Joo-hee, completely overwhelmed by fear, hugged Hunter Sung Jin-Woo tightly and wouldn't let go. At that moment, something flashed through Jin-Woo's mind. He remembered Juhi's words. She had said that the giant statue in the middle of the room had been watching them. Instinctively, Jin-Woo immediately turned his head. His eyes met the eyes of the giant statue in the middle of the hall.